Alrighty, what's up guys? Welcome back to the channel. Wanted to give you guys an update right now in a different location. Just finished up in Singapore 2049 fun conference. Still a little bit tired from all of that. A lot of traveling and all that. And wanted to give you guys an update. I got a new trade in right now. It does look pretty good for Ethereum on the charts. We'll talk about that. If you want more info on the trade, is the first link down below for the All the Empire VIP Discord. Got a good community in there. Do a lot of these swing trades, stop losses, take profits. I put it in, tell you guys when I enter a trade and all that. And all of these are in there as well, obviously. And if you want one free month there, if you sign up with my link down below for BYDFI or BloFin, deposit at least $100 in either of those, and open a support ticket with your UID or your email. We'll give you one free month there, and you get some good deposit bonuses as well. As you can see here, this ends in about 10 days, and then BloFin, just some deposit bonuses as well. 20% of your fees for life on both of these, only with my links. So yeah, let's get into the analysis, but I just want to show you a couple of things before. So I think it's really important here that we look at, fear and greed, because obviously here was a nice top area. You get a decent correction there. And then also here was a huge top in 2024. And we're kind of due to get into extreme greed probably, within a few months. And in all likelihood, with the 4-year cycle, once you get into that extreme greed, hopefully, more extended than not, but you could see that, by the end of this month, potentially for a market cycle top. When you get there, that's going to be a really good sell signal. So keep an eye on that. Your funding rates are pretty good. Things are generally looking more bullish than bearish, I will say. And I think that, you probably, once Bitcoin makes a new all-time high here, I think a lot of capital will start to flow into Ethereum, potentially bringing Ethereum up to above 5,000, hopefully 6,000 or 7,000 within a month or two. So we're looking at Bitcoin potentially hitting a new all-time high here. Still looks like you should see some continuation on that 2-day. Same thing on the kind of 4-day. A lot of these are decent for some continuation here. That's what we're looking at. So, I think we're decent. We are in the weekend now, so just be careful. We're coming to the weekend, so maybe a sideways weekend, and then you kind of jump up. Green week ahead is what I'm hoping for. You know what I mean? So that's kind of what I'm looking for. We'll keep an eye on this. I wouldn't go do anything too crazy right now, but what I like here, I like Ethereum. I like this trigger wave, 2 days to confirm. So unless you really, nuke right now or really go down a lot, I think you should be good. The 4-day looks excellent. Look, you're coming to the green here. This looks like you can get up to, hopefully, within a month or the end of this month, 5,800. And then if you can continue into November, 7,300. That's been my target for the longest time. Hopefully you can get there. I think it's more likely than not, but very, very likely that you can get up to, 5,800 for, that area. So, I could, kind of the higher points of what I would hope for by end of year, by end of November, 75, lower points, 58, that's kind of what I'm looking at. And as always, guys, can't stress this enough. This 3-week, anchor, trigger, whatever, trigger to here, anchor to there. Once that starts to print red or confirms red, your market is probably, your bull run is probably over here. So, that's what I'm looking at right there. You could see some, sideways choppiness over the weekend. I mean, if we want to talk about the bearish case, I think it's a little less likely, but it is possible, I guess, to do something like this. You would hit that like 21 weekly EMA, which is a big point, but you don't have to hit that, you know what I mean? And then you could see a big bounce from that into end of month, and you could still get to 5,800. We see what Ethereum has done, so just keep that in mind. That is possible. I'm more on the bullish case, but probably a lot of stop losses below here. They could get hunted out. Be careful. And then ETH versus Bitcoin, I think this is going to eventually break upward. Like I said, I think this should start to break upward once Bitcoin makes an all-time high, which hopefully will happen, within 7 days. So it's the big point right there. Bitcoin dominance probably will come up a little bit more. I think a nice clean rejection off of 60% is the most common outcome, most likely outcome here. You're seeing others bleed a little bit more against Bitcoin. I think as soon as Bitcoin makes a new all-time high, and you're close. I mean, it's like 124, I think, right? Let me just look at this. Yeah, like 124 is your all-time high. So once you break above that, it could be within a few days. Once you break above that, you, in all likelihood, we'll see alts show a lot of strength here. So that's kind of what we're looking at right there. Others versus Ethereum. Now, others versus Ethereum, same type of deal. This could come down a little bit farther, but I think, I think others probably will outperform Ethereum for a couple months here. Kind of similar to what we saw, if we want to look at previous areas. I mean, end of 23 had a nice jump up, kind of. And this was different here. This was different in the, kind of end of 24. Well, no, not different, but it started earlier here, and then end of 24, you had a big jump up. So I would guess that you would see the same general situation happen there. If you look at Avalanche here, that's one of the ones I like, as a lot of you guys know. I think this should break upward above if you can break above like 39 here, which you very likely should. You got some type of target around your old all-time high, 90 to 140 is what we're hoping for, 90 to 120, those type of areas for Avalanche. I would remain optimistic. Solana, I think, should be able to get to, in a few months, at least 300 I'm looking at. Hoping for 400 here. So a lot of nice continuation for a lot of these, continuation up to, 400, these areas right there. I mean, if you look at the spiral line, November would be 300. If you can extend above it, 400. I kind of don't think he would go up to 600, but I've been wrong before. Polkadot I was looking at, I mean, lagging behind as always, but if you can break above where we are right now, I think you got a good shot at, $6, $7 here, maybe up to $9. A lot of these alts can do a 2 or 3x, I think. Chainlink is kind of weird, kind of rejecting, from that 22 area, but I think you will, see strength on this trigger wave forming on the 3-day here, and that could potentially bring you up to your, old all-time high up to 36 and then 52 to potentially make a new all-time high. I think there's a good shot here. I want to look at Cardano as well briefly here, and when we look at this one, this will load for me here. Same type of deal. I think there's a trigger wave forming on this 4-day right here, and yeah, money flow. That's what it's not a trigger wave, but money flow coming up. So that could be strong. Potential jump up to 120, and you break above there, $2. So if you do see kind of what you saw, look at November of 24 here. Look at November of 24, big jump. We don't even need that much of a jump. You look at October of 23 here. Sometimes it skips a generation. Let's see if you can see this situation. There you go, 230, 220. A lot of people would be happy with that. So let's hope for that. Crypto.com, nice little trigger wave on that 2-day. 3-day as well. You got some green Heiken-Ashis, little trigger wave forming, potentially jumping up to, a double here, 40 cents. And then if you could break above there, 80 cents or something. So there's a lot of potential for this. Aster, a lot of people have been talking about that new one. If you can break above $2.40, which you probably will, I would guess. You're looking at $3, maybe even more. So a lot of potential here. That's pretty much the update I got for you guys right now. If you guys are interested in trading, interested in Discord, check out the links down below. A lot of good opportunities right now. Hope to see you guys in the Discord. Smash the like button, subscribe if you're new. I'll see you guys really soon. Goodbye.